This is what we can only call an experimental weblog from Michael's bookshop here in Ramsgate. Today I shall be talking about the Ramsgate Millennium book, if I can find one. Well, here we are in the bookshop. I suppose I'd better zoom out a bit. But before I go down that road, the whole business of vlogging and how on earth you would do it is, well, it's been tricky, let's say. So the idea really was to try and get to a point where I'd got a camera and I could set it up in such a way that I could see what the camera was doing. And here you see I can now see what the camera is doing. In the end, the actual camera was a Lumix TZ95. Difficult thing to use and I think easy to break. Setup's complicated, but really the apps for the major makes of camera that would connect in the way that you would connect a GoPro or some sort of action camera, they're just terrible. And the Panasonic does the job. It's not easy to learn to use, but this seems to be a stable connection and I can see what I'm doing. I can see what the camera's seeing. So I'm just going to get a Millennium book, which is actually behind the tripod, so stuff will probably move around. And so Ramsgate Millennium book. It's had a bumpy history price-wise. It came out as part of one of those grant things and it was very cheap, subsidised. You had to subscribe to get it. I think it was a £5 or a tenner, and some of us subscribed and got a copy, and it slowly went up in price. This one says £100 in it, but I've just looked it up and realised that now a reasonable price in the shop's about £80, so I will reduce it in price. In fact, I will reduce it in price now. There's not much else you can do. Somewhere here, I'll cross out where it says £100 and put 80. I don't know whether it'll go down again. I shouldn't think much. It's supply and demand, you see, and the supply became more than the demand for a book which went up at its highest to £300. So it's got its receipt and everything in there. Oh, there you are, it was £10. So you subscribed and it says here your name's been recorded in the copy. A lot of them have a person's name in them. Most of them are numbered. And it's a reasonably good general Ramsgate history book. It's the successor, I suppose, to Busson's Book of Ramsgate, and it sells reasonably well if the price is competitive. Of course, if the price isn't competitive, it doesn't sell at all. Could I just have a few penguins from over there to get this to the right angle or something like that? It's a very, very strange book in terms of its organisation. I'll just wedge it on a few penguins so we can get the angle right for this vlogging lark. I can't say I'm going to be much good at this, but you have to learn these things, and it's a learning curve. I'm trying to turn that instead of the camera. So it's a general history and it goes right up to the Millennium. I think the thing to do is to flip through, talk about it a bit, and even Tony Blair sent a letter saying something or other. Oh, what does he say? My very best wishes to the people of Ramsgate for the new millennium. The new millennium is obviously a time for reflection, and this book provides a great opportunity for people to set out their hopes for the year 2000 and beyond. I hope it's a great success, Tony Blair. And there's lots and lots of text to begin with, but soon we get some pictures. As I say, it's a strange book, lots of information. Some of it's a bit like a school project, some of it's straightforward local history. It tries to start from the beginning of time, which is a bit unusual, but it's a very local book with local characters, and it does help to understand how things work. The page numbers, however, are very, very difficult to follow. This, as you see here, says it's page 3, and this says it's page 3. And when you turn the page over, it's page 3, but if you look carefully, it says page 323. Anyway, the Saxons and Vikings a bit early. So we get to life around 1800, and life around 1800 is very much based around Henry Moses' book of pictures of Ramsgate. The key to Henry Moses' book is that Henry Moses drew a map and marked where he drew each picture from, but I think they've left the map out, which leaves you a little bit lost. But there you can see Henry Moses' book, I think, was published in 1815, so I suppose he must have been here drawing 1813, 1814. And we do a cheap reprint of Henry Moses' book in 2 different sizes. I think one's about £4, and I suppose the other one's 7 or 8, A5 and A4. Quite a bit here on the Victorian age, which, well, it's not too bad, a bit confused in as much as a lot of the buildings shown in the pictures are way pre-Victorian. Wellington Crescent and Ramsgate Sands, mid-19th century, yes, but of course Wellington Crescent was being built out in the mid-1820s, so it's not really Victorian, but it's a book to read with interest and with care. There's a chunk here, and this is based on the book, the advertisements from the book Ramsgate and Broadstairs with pen or by pen and camera, which is, I think, 1904. Got a lot of local adverts in. We do a cheap reprint of the book. I think you can see where I'm coming from. There are pros and cons to going out and spending 80 quid on this, but I think if you're interested in Ramsgate's local history, it's pretty much a must-have. There's a chunk on the First World War, and you can see photos and stuff, quite a bit based on First World War books, which we publish reprints of. Well, they're booklets really, there's nothing big, The main thing though, of course, which wasn't about at the Millennium, is Coburn's Diary, which is a day-to-day account of life in Ramsgate during the First World War, and that really is readable. Then we've got the Second World War, bit about Manston. It's a general book. Let's have a... We're soon up to the Millennium celebrations. Yep, one to consider, and one we usually have in stock. But £80 is a lot of money for a book, unless you're sure that it's going to hold its value. I think it will do. It's difficult to say, but it's come down a long way from its height, but then it went up a long way from being a tenner. So, something to consider. I think that's my weblog for today. I'm going to try and do more of this weblogging malarkey. I'll send you back up the bookshop if I can operate the zoom control properly. I'm quite interested in this. Oops, wrong way. I press the button on the tablet. I think we better go up a bit. There's a lot of bookshop down there. Recommend at some time whenever you come in and give the old Millennium book a bit of a browse and see what you think. Along with, well, we've got well over 200 local books. Anyway, cheerio for today. I hope I get better at this as time goes on.